Are you excited to go do fun new stuff with your donkeys? Well, here I brought a whole slew of donkeys with me to their first trail clinic and horse show.
She's the brave one.
Now these guys are wild, brought home in June, and now it's May. So they haven't been home for a full year, and we're going to see how they can do. Now we've done lots of different obstacles at home over the last 11 months, but this is it's their first time going off the property for many of them. I think Bahala's been off the property twice, and the rest of them, it's their first time. So when you're going, we have to keep our expectations real. So if you're curious what it's like to bring your donkey to their first show and what to expect when you get there, this is the video for you. So I'm set up, I'm doing all this obstacle course stuff when nobody else is over here, because the rest of them are all doing the fast horse competition stuff. Now here I'm trying to get her to side pass, and we really haven't practiced side passing much, but we have worked on moving the front and moving her hind. Now the goal here is to stay over that pole, but remember they're wild and it's recent. They haven't been home for that long. So when she's not able to do what I'm asking, then what we're going to do is just work on getting that movement, and I'm not going to care about the pole. Now this one is Grace, and she is typically the brave one. And then later on, we're going to be working with Ah and Bahala also. So stay tuned, and you can see what it's like, or what my experience was like bringing them to their first horse show. Now, I really thought they were going to do more than what they were able to do in this obstacle, but that's okay that they couldn't. It just tells me where they're at with their trust and adding all this new. There's a lot of people here. This is a busy horse show. So even though there's so many people here, we're just going to go have fun. And it doesn't matter to me if we place. It doesn't matter to me if we get any ribbons. I'm here for the experience, guys. So go have fun with your donkeys. And you're going to be able to observe, compare, and adjust, right? So you bring them to their first adventure like this, and there's a lot of people, a lot of stimulation. And then the next time you bring them, see how they are the next time. And just keep remembering all of that. Observe, remember, and then compare and adjust as you need to. Now, with Ah, when we brought her out there, we used the flag. I lost all of my forward movement with her. So we used the flag, and that didn't help very much either. So it turned out with Ah, we just kind of hung out, walked around some. We didn't get much accomplished in the way of doing an obstacle, but what we did get accomplished was a new experience. These experiences are what allows us to grow as a team. We want this always to be a team. Now here I'm supposed to trot. And guess what, guys? I don't trot. Well, maybe I do, but she doesn't. So go have fun with your donkeys. Give them new experiences. They need all these experiences so we can keep building up the trust. We can build up our relationship, and then she's going to keep being willing to do more and more. Now this here wild donkey, Grace, she just got started under saddle not too long ago, and later on she goes to ride in a parade. She actually rode in 2 parades, plus she sorted cattle, and so did Bahala. So even though they're not doing much movement here, the movement will come as we keep building trust and understanding for what we're asking. I'm not very good at remembering where I'm supposed to go, so here I have to go around the tarp. Now, tarp, we've done that at home, guys. So if you did it at home, then you would expect them to do it just fine when you go to the show. Well, maybe, but maybe there's too much stimulation. And so just go have fun. Keep your expectations reasonable for what they can offer you. Work with the donkey that you're working with today, not the one that did something amazing yesterday or the week or months before. You just have to work with the donkey you have today. Now, am I going to try to force her to go through? You're not going to force the donkey, guys. And even if you were able to force the donkey, that's not building the relationship that you want. Imagine a little baby when you start feeding them food and how they'll turn their head away and stuff when they don't want the food, or maybe slap the spoon out of your hand. There, look at her. She did it. She went across the tarp. Like, that's amazing. So we're working with them. Just like you're not going to force the spoon into your baby's mouth, you're not going to force them to do this stuff. We want them to go and have fun. We want to be a source of comfort for them, even when they're nervous. So go have fun with your donkey. This was just like the best time. Later on, I do ride Grace in one of the horse competitions, and we actually got a ribbon. I think we got first place. That was pretty cool. We were the only ones, but who cares, guys? So we want to keep our expectations real. Now she knows back very well. And here you have to back around the barrels.
So are you going to tell us a story, Kathy?
So we're just going to go see what she can offer for me. And maybe we're not super fluid, but that doesn't matter because we're here for the experience.
Oh, the horses. We're talking
so
about
go have fun and find out what your donkey can offer you instead of
stop there.
on that trip. Whatever they can offer you on that trip is fine, and you can just keep growing with it. Now, if your donkey is super nervous and they just freeze up, change what you're doing. Just try to get them to be comfortable. Because Ah did not do very well in this obstacle course, later on I just walked her around. I walked her around all that other craziness all around with the horses and kids and bicycles and dogs. There's so much stimulation, and they haven't experienced this yet. I'm very pleased with how Grace is doing. She is a very brave donkey. So if you are working with a donkey who seems like they're willing to hold their own,
come on over for pictures.
Boy, that's going to be a neat thing, because they're probably a little bit braver than some of the other ones. You're going to get there sooner. Now, Bahala, she's super nervous.
Pictures are taken with the illustrious judge.
And so it's going to take longer because you got to build up that trust in that relationship even more so. And then she's the baby. She's 4 years old at this time. And it was like her first time being off the property, and she hadn't been worked with as much because I was starting Valhalla and Grace under saddle. First Valhalla and then Grace. And I did not start working under saddle until after I sold Valhalla and Grace, and I needed to get the next one started. So we're just going to take little bits. And it doesn't matter if you can only get one step, because we're growing with the experience.
Pony and miniature geldings and stallions.
Sorry, guys, there's my son videoing. He likes to zoom in and out a lot.
But I'm guessing
so we're just going to take whatever we can get and appreciate it. Remember, they're a wild animal. They're a beast. They can handle a lot. But they need to have that trust.
19 and older.
And we're not going to just force them. You can try a flag, but if they're too nervous, they'll go to freeze up. That's why we really need to focus on not causing them to freeze and to go have fun. Now here you see how tight I had the lead rope. I'm really not doing right by her there. I should have made sure I had a looser lead rope. But that's okay. It's all just a learning experience. You see, I got that trot down. We just got to teach Grace that trot also.
There's ponies down there.
Now, there was a box that you have to step in, and it had water in it. That was way too scary for Grace. And I'll post a video later on where I bring Grace back to the horse club, and she goes into the box later on just fine. And yep, you just saw I snuck her some oats, some pay. Now here's that box. Now part of the reason it's possible that she didn't go into this box is because there's horses right there. That could have just been too intimidating for her. I didn't know this when I first got a donkey, but horses are often afraid of donkeys. And what these wild donkeys have taught me is sometimes the donkeys are afraid of the horses. So because we're having trouble getting to step in or walk through this box, I play with it. Nobody else is here, so I have lots of time. I think you're supposed to go through the obstacle course in a few minutes, and I think I was probably out there for like a half hour. So I get her to step into the box with one foot, and that's good. We call that good. And later on when I bring her back just for a horse meeting or for playtime, I got her to go into that box, no problem. There was nowhere near as much resistance to doing it when there wasn't as much commotion around, and it wasn't her first time then. So that repetition is a big deal. Sometimes when you trailer them new places, you could trailer them and just have them tied up there. Just have them hang out with you. You don't have to ask them any questions. All of these things are such big experiences. But of course, because I am who I am, I couldn't just bring him and tie him up. I have to go through the obstacle course. And Grace does a pretty good job of it, but she is pretty brave. Later on, when I bring Bahala and Ah through, they're not as brave, especially Ah. She was pretty nervous, pretty froze up, but she hadn't been worked with as long. She had time off while I was training Grace and Bahala. So just keep your expectations reasonable. Go at it for the purpose of having some fun, not for winning a ribbon. And then you're going to keep growing and improving on what you're doing. And here I just have to keep trying to get her in that box. And like I said, I do get her to step like a foot into it, I think is all I got today. And we just called it good. I was thankful that there wasn't a line waiting of other people to come through because they were all doing the horse competition and races and stuff. So we were able just to go have fun and take our time and accomplish a little bit. Just one little baby step at a time. I would love to hear in the comments about the first time you brought your donkey on an adventure. What kind of adventure did you bring him on? Was it a horse show or a trail ride? Or maybe to your friend's house to go riding and meeting other animals? What was it like? Did your donkey, were they able to do the same thing at their new adventure as they could do at home? Or did you find that maybe they weren't able to do as much? Now, later on, Daphne, I didn't bring her on this trip, but Daphne, we would just bring her to Ridge Riders during a meeting just to let her be tied up. All of that is really stressful to them, and so we need to do everything we can in baby steps. Sometimes she would get diarrhea in the trailer or just being tied to the trailer once we got there because she was nervous, but after more times that we brought her, the less nervous she was. Seamus, famous Seamus, is the first donkey I got. When we used to bring him on trailer rides to go do stuff and adventures, I would pony him behind my horse, and he would be all sweated up. He would get so nervous that he would have sweat on his chest and around his ears. That's just all signs of nerves. He would also get the diarrhea. And that went away. Like now it's no big deal for him to go into a trailer. Now it's no big deal for Seamus to do anything except for, we've made some poor choices in training, and now we have to undo that stuff. And it takes a little bit of time to work through that when you push too hard.
We should probably ask you what we're looking for.
So when you're doing this stuff, if your donkey is freezing up, don't worry about pushing too hard. Just get one step. Just get them to lean in the direction you want and call that good. Give them lots of breaks so that they can come down from their adrenaline and their anxiety, and then ask other small questions. We want to ask questions that they can say yes to. When we do that, we're building up their confidence and their trust in us. And then over time, they're going to be willing to do more and more trust. There, she just stepped into that. And now I'm paying her, and we're going to be done. Just one little step into it, guys. Of course, I wanted her to walk through the box, but that's okay. Now we have Ah. Oh, Ah. She's so sweet.
Yep, she's wild too. Brought home in June.
Boy, she sure is flicking her tail a lot. That's not from flies. That's from her being nervous. So here we're going to just try to get a little bit. And if I were to do this again with a brand new Wild, with as nervous as she is, I might not try to go through the obstacle there. I think what I might do is just walk her around in there. It doesn't matter if she goes through the obstacle. This is all for fun. And because she's this nervous, here I thought we could just kind of power through it. And I had my son come in with the flag behind us. And we did get some forward movement, but I think I could have made it better for her if I just simply walked around. If I found a question she could say yes to. She's not being naughty. She's just nervous. So if you're in this situation and your donkey is acting like Ah here, don't be afraid to not try to do any of the obstacles and just go walk around and have fun and let them experience that and build up their confidence and their ability to say yes to things. Now, Ah here is a 4-year-old wild donkey, brought home when she was 3. And now is started under saddle, and she has been to one Ty Evans clinic, and she's going to be riding in 2 Ty Evans clinics this year. And I hope to start working cattle with her and just having fun. She's going to be sticking around as my ambassador animal. But this is her 11 months after we brought her home. So she can do different obstacles at home. But here, this was so much stimulation for her. And she's still a baby at only 4 years old. So go have fun with them. Adjust your expectations as you need to, based on what they're willing to do for you. You see how long I've been at the same spot, not getting anything done. And I would have been better off just to walk around, just find something that she can say yes to. Again, I love to hear your stories of your first adventures out with your donkeys. What did you do? How did they perform? Was it as you expected, or were you surprised? And here, she does all kinds of things at home. And today, she was just too froze up. And here I'm trying to firm up, but that wasn't happening. And this is something that's common with donkeys. Once they get into that freeze mode, you're done. So I could swirl that rope as much as I want to, but it's not going to cause her to move forward. And that's where swinging around that rope, it's not going to help. So I stopped. And we're just going to find another way to get around it, because it's just too much. Too much for her.
Them horses up, getting rid of that fuzz.
When I was walking around the outside of the arena, even that, it took a lot longer than just a normal walk around the arena. And she was in hand, of course. But it was a really good experience, and I think that was a better experience than being in here with me swinging the rope and then later on having my son come in with the flag and trying to get her to move while she's just so nervous and getting choppy movement. So go just have fun and keep it simpler. And here she is on a walk so we can find yes questions. Now I'm with Grace, and I think it's a walk trot class. And you can see how she's trotting off. I didn't ask her to trot there. Sure is a nice trot though, isn't it? That's from her being nervous. I don't super like that she's just trotting off without me asking, because then I don't feel like I have as much steering as I want. Now later on, we brought Valhalla and Grace to work cattle, to just kind of move them around. And it was for the purpose of helping to build up Valhalla's confidence, because she's kind of nervous. And Grace, she's cowy. This is a donkey that we moved cattle during cattle sorting. She chased after a cow and blocked it from going outside of the pen. She did just amazing. We won't talk about whether or not I fell off when that happened. So this is Grace, and this is the first time she's been at anything like this with the loud recorder. There goes my son. I'm trying to zoom in and out. The loud recorder, all of the other horses, all the other people, horses winning, lots of different smells, like everything is just so nervous. And I was so fast to try to get back out there, having all these donkeys that I'm working with, that I didn't even tuck in all of the cinches. They're just kind of dangling there, which it doesn't hurt her, but it doesn't look very neat. So go have fun with your donkeys. This is her first time riding off the property. I'm very pleased with how she did. She's a very brave donkey. And lucky for me, a neighbor, when I say neighbor, then she's like 25 miles away from my house. But my neighbor bought both Grace and Valhalla, and she just loves and adores them. So I get updates lots, and hopefully I get to see them ride at the horse group later on. So this is Grace's first time out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I do love to hear your comments. And now you guys know that Grace, Valhalla, and all have their own playlists. So you can see everything that's happened from the beginning when we brought them home to where they're at now. I also have playlists for different topics, such as picking up the feet or introducing the trailer and getting them used to that, introducing the saddle. I was pretty lucky to get these 13-hand wild donkeys, and Oz actually a little over that. She's like 13, 1 1/4. and still growing. I thought I was going to be able to get more wild donkeys that were this big for 2024, but I didn't. I wasn't able to get any that were this big. So I was pretty lucky to have gotten these big wild donkeys. And now we have not wild, we have a domestic baby jack donkey. And then we also have 2 American jackstock mammoth genets. Later on, we'll start breeding to make American jackstock mammoth donkeys. An American jackstock mammoth donkey can be as big as like 16 hands tall. Now, I'm riding Grace here and she's 13 hands tall. So that'll be fun to see how we're able to do with that. That'll be a new venture for us. But we have Honk the Donk, who is a mammoth donkey who stands 15 hands tall. We brought home a baby, Holler, who stands, well, she's 13 right now, 13 hands tall, but she's not even 2 years old yet, so she has a lot of growing left to do. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And let me know if you have any questions or any way I can help. I love being here to help you all. Either just enjoy the journey of what I'm doing or to help with your own training. Have a super day.